Crystal Palace have had a mixed season. Up and down results and performances under Roy Hodgson saw him get the sack before Oliver Glasner arrived and turned them into England's next feeder team. But with question marks over the future of some of their young stars, I've been chosen as the man to steer the ship to take them to the next level and maybe win a trophy along the way. Now looking at the Crystal Palace squad, it's in fairly decent shape, but there can be no doubt that it is spearheaded by two of their superstar Scarlets. Despite his injury problems this season, Eze has continued his fine form that has earned him a spot in the England national team heading into the Euros, with 11 goals in 27 appearances this season. The future is bright for the Englishman, and the exact same thing can be said about the 21-year-old Frenchman Michael Olise. Whilst he had his own problems with injury, when he has performed at the absolute highest level. 10 goals in just 19 appearances in the Premier League, and there can be no doubt that any success Crystal Palace may have, these two will be absolutely pivotal to it. However, unfortunately for me, it seems like real life is being reflected here on this career mode, as straight away the big teams are coming sniffing for my star players. And after Arsenal have backed Mikel Arteta with a £61 million war chest in their negotiations, and frustratingly for both me, the fans and the club, that offer is just too good to turn down. Michael Olise's head has been turned as he walks out of the Palace doors for the final time in his career, as he is the first man to depart to Arsenal for £61 million. And then to make matters worse, with the Liverpool manager in his last season at the club, Jurgen Klopp, deciding to flex his transfer muscles, he's decided to do whatever he can do to make a deal happen for my other Scarlets, meaning that Eze becomes the second huge money signing to frustratingly depart Crystal Palace at the very beginning of this summer transfer window, as he departs to the English Giants for £42 million. And the mass exodus continues here at Crystal Palace as Riedewald leaves to Fulham for £2.7 million, Jordan Ayew leaves for Fiorentina for 4.1, Crystal Palace legend Joel Ward departs for £1.3 million to Stuttgart, Jeffrey Schlupp is shipped off to Wolves for 3.7, and finally another experienced veteran leaves as James Tompkins departs to Havre for 450 grand. And whilst that's made a whopping great difference in my transfer budget, now up to 152 million, it's also made a whopping great difference to my overall squad, leaving me with massive holes right across the team and an absolute mountain to climb here, just before I've even got my feet under the table. Now before I decide to bring in any replacements, let's take a quick look through this squad to see what I am working with. I'm pretty happy so far with my two goalkeeping choices, and I think Dean Henderson has his best years ahead of him, and he has cemented himself as our number one. He will continue between the sticks. Tyrick Mitchell is an obvious starter on the left-hand side of my defence, but with him being the only senior left-back at the club, I'm certainly going to try and look to see if I can bring in a backup for him. It seems like the experienced Joachim Andersen and the now new English international Mark A have formed a formidable partnership at the back for Crystal Palace, but with us seemingly playing three at the back and only having the likes of Rob Holding and Chris Richards in reserve, I think centre-back is going to be another key priority for me this summer. Daniel Munoz has got the right-hand side of my defence sewn up, and whilst his reserve Nathaniel Klein is only 74 rated, he does have a lot of experience and he does have a lot to play for with him heading into the final few months of his contract. Let's see what he can do this season before making a decision on his future. As far as central midfield goes, Will Hughes is pretty average, but we've got a decent array of talent. Jefferson Lerma, 28, 78 rated. I think he's a pretty decent squad player. And Czech Decore, at 23 years of age and now 79 rated, certainly is a crucial member of the squad and someone I'm sure I'm going to be relying on as the season progresses. One man though who not only is showing great potential but is also showing some real quality in the here and now is the 19-year-old Adam Wharton, the man who's managed to make his way into the England squad for the Euros this season. Yes, he may only be 76 rated, but the future is bright for the young man, and here's to hoping both he and Decore can form a brilliant partnership at the heartbeat of my midfield. Now up front, I've got two fairly middle-of-the-road Frenchmen to contest leading the line for me this season, the first of which being the 25-year-old 75-rated Odegaard, who supposedly has that something special, and the other being the 76-rated 26-year-old Jean-Philippe Mateta, who too apparently has that something special as well. Now whilst both of them aren't exactly going to be pulling up trees with their ratings anytime soon, and don't exactly look like they've got the potential to become world-class superstars, Jean-Philippe Mateta did end up scoring 16 goals in 35 appearances for Crystal Palace last season, so I do think he deserves the shot to try and see if he can be the man to lead us to glory in this career mode. However, the departures of Olise and Eze have left us with two gaping holes in that central attacking midfield spot, with only three young players who could potentially fill it. Firstly, this man, Yezaran Raksaki, 20 years of age, has that something special. He's an exciting young talent who can play on the right-hand side of midfield as well. He's got brilliant physical stats, and I'm hoping he can develop into a world-class superstar. The 19-year-old Brazilian Matheus Franca offers us a great deal of versatility, being able to play behind the striker and on both sides of midfield. He's 6 foot and he's got bags of potential, both physically and technically as well. And finally, the 21-year-old Frenchman Hamadar also offers me a great deal of flexibility. Central midfield, central attacking midfield, midfield and right wing are all the positions he can play. And with him having a high attacking work rate and also being 6 foot, I'm hoping he has all the physical attributes possible to make it to the highest level as well. And whilst there can be no doubt that all three of them have the potential to become incredible world-class talents here at Crystal Palace, the big question really now is whether or not I can trust them to make that step up to the first team this season. It's quite a sudden drop-off in overall rating in comparison to my two star players in Olise and Eze, and to be honest, with squad morale down, I think I'm going to have to try and see if I can bring in at least one player in that position, not just to reinvigorate the entire team, but the fans as well. And so that is why I've decided to turn my attention to a man whom I think has a real point to prove here at Crystal Palace. He's someone with Premier League experience and someone who Mikel Arteta really was fond of in his very first season at the club at Arsenal, but frustratingly for him, both injuries and form meant that he found himself out of the starting 11 and now on the lookout for a new club, and that is why I think it is the perfect time to offer Fabio Vieira another opportunity at glory here in the Premier League, as he will join from Arsenal for £16 million. He's certainly an upgrade on some of those younger players in the immediate term, and at 23 years of age, he still has his best years ahead of him. 77 rated, and I am really confident that he can add another dimension to my attack moving forward. And whilst he will go straight into my starting 11, it leaves me with a very big decision as to who's going to take up the other spot on the other side of my midfield. Do I try and look to spend big money to replace the likes of Olise and Eze, or do I put my faith in some of the young players we already have at the club to show their true colours and to see if they can make their step up here in the Premier League this season? Let me know down below what you think. Now, as you know, earlier I spoke about how I'm pretty comfortable with this 5-2-3 formation that Crystal Palace have got going on at the moment. It allows me to play the likes of Wharton and Decore in midfield. It will hopefully give licence for the more attacking players to do what they can to try and feed in this man Mateta. It gives me width both on the left and the right hand side of my defence with the likes of Munoz and Tyreek Mitchell. Plus, having three defenders at the back gives me that defensive solidity that I'm sure this club will be desperately craving. However, with a 76 rated Chris Richards being the third best central defender I've got at the club, I clearly think this is a role that I really need to improve immediately. And whilst once again you guys have all provided me with a great deal of wonderful suggestions for me to choose from, there was one in particular that really stood out to me. He's a left-footed Ecuadorian whom I think would fit in perfectly on the left-hand side of a three-man central defence. He has really started to make a name for himself in the Bundesliga this season, playing some fantastic football at the back for Frankfurt. And of course the 21-year-old is now ready to take the next step in his career, make the move to the Premier League and show what he can do at the very highest level of English football. That is right, Willian Pacho joins Crystal Palace for £30 million. And for me, this is a very big signing. Not only is he an exciting prospect, but at 78 rated and just 21 years of age, he well and truly has all the potential to grow into a world-class talent here at Crystal Palace. He's got fantastic pace, which is exactly what I need, and at 6'1", he's got the power to acclimatise to the Premier League as well. He will go straight into my starting 11, and all of a sudden my defence looks a lot more solid. And finally, with me mentioning earlier that Tyreek Mitchell is my number one left-back at the club, but being the only senior option that I've got, which of course means that left-back is going to be the third signing that I'm going to try and look to make here in this summer transfer window. And once again, shout out to you guys for providing me with such wonderful options. Of course, the highlight being this man, 30, Chadaglu. At 23 years of age and 78 rated, he looks like he is the pick of the bunch. However, whilst it would be the sensible decision to bring in that man, I've got to be honest, I do have a real soft spot for Tyreek Mitchell, and I don't think I want to bring someone in who can potentially displace him in the starting 11. So instead, I've decided to go for someone whom at 21 years of age fits into the current Crystal Palace ethos of bringing in some of the best young talents across Europe. He's a man who can potentially be an able deputy for Tyreek Mitchell, and someone whom I'm hoping will be a really good figure in the squad. That is right, I've decided to bring in the young Frenchman Quinton Merlin from Marseille for £11.9 million. The young man is starting to show some great potential at 75 rated, and he's got some fairly decent stats right across the board. I think he could well be an able deputy for the 23-year-old Englishman Tyreek Mitchell, and who knows, as the season progresses, may start pushing him all the way for a starting spot. And so with some massive upheaval going on in this squad as we head into pre-season, it is finally time to see what we can do in front of these travelling fans, and finally time to see if some of these new signings can fit in with the rest of their Crystal Palace teammates. And it looks like Fabio Vieira is starting as he means to go on, as he is just inches away from a 25-yard screamer into the top right-hand corner. Hopefully there'll be more of that this season. And with Dean Henderson making some unbelievable flying saves down the other end of the pitch, hopefully that shows our defence is just as good as our attack. But unfortunately the game has to end on a sour note, as a ridiculous flying challenge means that Mateta will pick up a short-term injury and miss the very start of the season. However, with pre-season done, it's time to focus on our tactics and our setup moving into the Premier League campaign. And after the Crystal Palace fans have grown tired with the slow and steady pace of Roy Hodgson and absolutely delighted with what Oliver Glasner brought them in real life. I'm hoping to continue that theme here today and switch to a more tiki-taka style to get the best out of these young players. But of course, that is going to come with my own little tactical tweaks, making sure that all of my players make forward runs as many times as they can and piling players in the box to try and take advantage of some of our attacking players. I want whoever's going to be leading the line for me to make forward runs to try and stretch the defence as much as possible. And hopefully that will allow the likes of Fabio Vieira and whomever plays on the other side of midfield to have a free roam, picking up dangerous pockets of space. For now though, it's time for the talking to end and the real business to start, as that is right, we are heading away from home to Bramall Lane more specifically to face off against Sheffield United in our very first game of the Premier League campaign. A wonderful opportunity in front of the travelling fans to clinch 3 points to set our Premier League campaign off with an absolutely lightning start. And in terms of my starting 11 for our very first game, as you can see, Dean Henderson gets the nod in goal, Mark Gay, Anderson and William Pacho will make his debut in defence, Mitchell will start on the left hand side and Munoz will be the man to start on the right. Adam Wharton's partnered by Decore in midfield, and it's Raksak who gets the nod alongside Fabio Vieira, who plays behind Odegaard up front. So here we go then, a huge game to kick off our Premier League campaign, and this is a very winnable game, and a game I'm sure that the fans will be hoping and expecting to pick up the 3 points from. But at the moment, it's Sheffield United who are in the ascendancy and trying to drift their way into the final third here of my half, but it's a brilliant interception from Adam Wharton. That is exactly what I want to see from the young man, and Fabio Vieira has won the ball back high up the pitch here in a really dangerous position, and the young man now has got space to run into down the right hand side. He hasn't got the pace, so instead checks back in field and floats a wonderful ball over to Raksaki, who takes the volley on the first time. Oh my goodness, Raksaki with arguably the goal of the season inside the opening 10 minutes. My word, what a way to introduce yourself to the Palace faithful. It's an absolutely outrageous goal. Fabio Vieira with a fabulous assist, but no one would expect what Raksaki was about to do. A first time volley with his left foot, looped it over the goalkeeper, and oh my word, Chris Wilde, I can't believe it, it's 1-0. Well, my word, what a start here to life under new management at Crystal Palace. Absolutely fantastic, and it looks like we're continuing that momentum here as it's a wonderful ball over to Munoz on the right hand side, who takes it down really nicely, plays it into Fabio Vieira, who looks like he's going to try and line up a shot. In the end, he was just a little bit too slow with that one. The Tyreek Mitchell now to bring this one out of defence, and he plays it into Raksaki, the young man full of confidence after his early fabulous goal. And look at this, he's got the pace to accelerate away from the defenders. He hasn't got any options in the box though, so instead he has to keep hold of the ball, and frustratingly for him, he just loses it. My word, he is in electric form though so far in the opening 30 minutes. And it's Cameron Archer now, he's blocked off by Tyreek Mitchell, really nicely done, and we have just overloaded the midfield with so many men. Sheffield United really struggling to find a way through. Raksaki once again picks it up on this side of the field. Anything that is going to happen at the moment seems like it's going to happen through the young man. What a fabulous start here to life in the Premier League. Vieira tries to play it across to Munoz, who's just straight offside. The trusty brings it away now for Sheffield United. He's got a ball over on the right hand side, which he does manage to find. Slimane now gives it back to the centre-back, and he manages to get away from a couple of challenges, but not enough to get past Tyreek Mitchell. The left-back now will try and burst forward. Can he play a ball through? No, he can't. Good interception from Vinny Souza. So it's Conway now for Sheffield United as they try and see if they can find a way back into this game. But William Pacho on his debut is in the right place at the right time to intercept, and that is exactly what I want to see from my new starters. But I've got to be honest, as we begin the start of this second half, it wasn't exactly an opening 45 minutes that was filled with excitement and drama, but with pretty much the only decent chance of the game we took with absolute aplomb here, as we're going to try and see at the beginning of the second whether or not we can do the same thing. A good spell of possession here for Crystal Palace as Wharton throws a lovely ball right over to an unmarked Tyreek Mitchell on the left hand side. What options does he have up ahead of him? Instead, he's going to look to try and see if he can take it on himself, and runs into a bit of trouble. It's Slimane now though to go down the right hand side for Sheffield United, trying to see if they can start off this second half a little bit better than they did the first. Nice little cut back into Baldock. Baldock plays it into Vinny Souza. He's going to try and bring it forward, shapes up to strike. Conway is the man who shapes up to strike. In the end, blocked off by the big man Anderson at the back. There's going to be Munoz with the throw. Fabio Vieira plays it into Wharton. Wharton looks central, and he does find a nice ball into Decore. Lovely little pass back into Fabio Vieira, across to Munoz, and again he's offside. So it's Diaz now into Cameron Archer. Sheffield United starting to ramp up the pressure, starting to turn the screw and try and see if they can find a route back into this game here with about 20 minutes remaining on the clock. Trusty, nice little pass into Slimane. Almost every single man inside my half here, thrown across the box into Vinny Souza. Blocked off once again though by the big man Anderson. Well, it seems like my defence is holding firm so far. The three at the back have been absolutely instrumental in that, and that is a fabulous ball from Anderson. Having that extra man, that width on the left hand side in Tyreek Mitchell is really proving to be worthwhile here as he tries to play a ball through into Odegaard, making the run that I did ask him to, but unfortunately it didn't come across that time. Pacho with a wonderful wonderful ball right the way over to Munoz on the right-hand side, who takes it on and goes past the right back now and plays a stunning ball into Fabio Vieira. The young man on his debut into the box, takes the strike on. What an interception by the defender, as surely that was about to nestle into the top left-hand corner. We've got just under 5 minutes plus stoppage time though remaining on the clock here for us to hold on to what will be a much needed and hugely valuable 3 points here in our opening game of the Premier League campaign. But it's a really good ball into Archer into the box. Sheffield United have an opportunity now with Vinny Souza, who smashed it against Henderson, who beat it away and almost got it clear, and we do eventually as the referee blows for full time. Well, they gave us a bit of a scare at the end and we breathe a sigh of relief, but it does not matter because I salute the travelling fans and we get the job done here today at Bramall Lane. That young man, Raksaki, will take the plaudits, and rightly so. An absolutely sensational winner means that Crystal Palace collect the 3 points on our opening game of the season. Sheffield United 0, Palace 1. Well, Eze and Raksaki step forward and take a bow. His first appearance in the Premier League this season, and he delivers with a fabulous goal. It's a moment for the young man to cherish, and hopefully he can continue that fine form as the career mode progresses. And it's the exact sort of start both he and the rest of the club are hoping for. 1 game played, 1 win, 3 points on the board. 5th in the Premier League table. But speaking of young players, it's time to turn our attention to our own youth academy to try and see if we can find the next Crystal Palace superstar. But as you can tell, we haven't exactly been blessed with the best intake. And so that is why, with 3 new up-and-coming youth scouts now on the books, it's time to see if we can scout across Europe to try and locate the best young talent. Starting, of course, with England, where else? Before moving on to see if we can grow the French contingent at the club. And then finally going for a wild card in Spain to see if we can find some young players that fit in to our tiki-taka style. Let's see what our scouts come back with and whether or not they can have any impact on this Crystal Palace team. For now though, it's time for our first real big challenge of this game, and it's the first opportunity for Fabio Vieira to come face to face with his former club, as for the first time this season in front of our home fans here at Selhurst Park, we've got the opportunity to go up against one of the Premier League's really big guns. That is right, it's Mikel Arteta's Arsenal, and it's the first opportunity to really test just how good these players are settling in to this brand new system here at Crystal Palace. And there's only going to be one change from the team that beat Sheffield United in our opening Premier League game, and that is that Mateta comes back in up front, recovering from his earlier injury. So this is a really good opportunity to put a marker down and really gauge just how good we are and where we are in comparison to the rest of our development, testing ourselves against one of the absolute best in the Premier League. And we're starting off in pretty decent shape, but just as I say that, Tyrick Mitchell goes and gives the ball away to Xhaka, and now Odegaard has it, and Odegaard with a defence-splitting pass back into the young Englishman, twisting away, weaving away from the challenge of Tyrick Mitchell. I feel like it's going to be a real ding-dong battle between the two of them down that right-hand flank so far this game. It's Doucouré though who's going to pick it up in the centre of the park, gives it to Adam Wharton, lovely touch and turn away from the defender, and finds a wonderful ball out to the right-back Munoz, who's unmarked, and now it's Fabio Vieira's first opportunity to bring the ball forward, and it's a wonderful ball forward into Mateta to strike off the post. My word, he was inches away from getting his goal on his first game back. Doucouré though will pick up the scraps, turns around, goes to try and just lift it round Raya. In the end though, the Spaniard is equal to it. So it's Mark Gay who looks like he's going to be able to get onto the loose ball here. He does, and he plays a nice ball out into Munoz, who's looking for the forward run of Fabio Vieira to play it down the channel. He cannot quite reach the young man as Timber comes across, but Fabio Vieira wins it back from him, and everything at the moment, creativity wise, is coming through the young man. Plays it back into Mateta, who just dragged it wide. Well, that was a big opportunity, and my word, he knows it. 2 good chances he's had here in the opening 15 minutes, and he hasn't been able to take either of them. But everything at the moment is coming through both he and Fabio Vieira, and surely it's just a matter of time. So it's booted clear by the Arsenal goalkeeper. So far, so good though in this opening 25 minutes. Absolutely everything has gone our way. We've been playing some fantastic football, and long may it continue here. We're just opening up this Arsenal defence at will. Warburton now into Fabio Vieira, who once again has picked up a nice little pocket of space. This time though, Saliba is equal to it, and now Arsenal have the first opportunity to really try and see if they can counter-attack us here. Tomiyasu on the right-hand side. Tyrick Mitchell comes across to try and cover. Saliba picks it up. The right-back has it once again. Arsenal now trying to see if they can assert themselves in this game, but Tyrick Mitchell gets the better of Saka. That is going to be a really interesting battle down that right flank as Raksaki brings it away. Some lovely footwork there into Adam Wharton. Has he got the pace to try and burst down this left-hand side? He's continuing his run, looking for a ball into the box. Look at Mateta, it's a header! It's cleared off the line by Saliba. How many chances does the young man need? That's 3 opportunities, and 3 he's not been able to take. It was Declan Rice now for Arsenal, trying to find a route into this game here. Jorginho out to Hartman on the left-hand side, can't play it through. Defensively, we've been absolutely outstanding. I tried to see if I hit them on the counter-attack, but the referee's got other ideas as he blows for half-time. Well, we may be beginning the second half here at 0-0, but the scoreline does not reflect the performance. We've absolutely battered the Arsenal goal. We've had 3 huge opportunities that we have not been able to take, and I've just got to hope that doesn't come back to bite us as this game progresses. So it's Tomiyasu now on the right-hand side. Nice little pass into Saka. He's got the better of Tyreek Mitchell, but the left-back's frantically coming back across. Lovely challenge. Absolutely huge. Pancho now over to Henderson, playing with fire there a little bit, but showed incredible calmness and composure. And now we've beaten the Arsenal press here. Fabio Vieira into Wharton. Can he find a ball forward? Tries to lift it over to the former Arsenal man who just can't get there. Can Raksaki? No, Saliba just in front of him. It's Tomiyasu now for Arsenal down this right-hand side. Saliba back over to the right back. Tomiyasu looking for Saka. Nice ball in field too. Declan Rice looking for an option up ahead of him. Still has the ball. Ends up having to go back to the centre-back Timber. Arsenal playing some really good football now. Everyone inside the Crystal Palace half here as they begin to ramp up the pressure and turn up the screw here. Odegaard into Hartman. The left-back looks for Gabby Jesus again, and this time it's Anderson who comes across with a great interception. Well, Arsenal are now beginning to knock on the door, but my defence so far is holding firm. How much longer can we do this for, though? As Saka plays it back into the left-back Hartman. Acres of space, plays it back into Odegaard. Odegaard floats it in. Pancho this time with a good header. Gabby Jesus, though, plays it round into Emil Smith-Rowe, and Henderson comes out. Wonderful goalkeeping. And with some tired legs down that left-hand flank, I'm going to make a couple of changes here. And as you can see, both Merlin will come on for his debut, as does Franca in place of Raksaki, to finally get his opportunity to show what he can do up front as well. But Arsenal here are going to look to try and see if they can try a different tact here. They've gone short with the corner, and now it's Saka who picks it up. Tries to go past Mark Gay. Not good enough, though. Odegaard will pick up the scraps, though. Gabby Jesus, another big save from the goalkeeper. Well, we're going through about a 10-15 minute period here where Arsenal are really starting to turn the screw. Anderson, though, with a big thumping header away. Only out as far as Odegaard. He comes back across. Saka has it. Saka into Thomas Partey, who lines up a strike. Henderson beats it away. Not very far, though. He gets on the loose ball. Manages just to punch it clear. Anderson with the big head. And Fabio Vieira now will bring it clear. And once again, we breathe a huge sigh of relief. Mateta now has an option. Throws it over the top and finds a wonderful ball into Franca, and the young man now has the chance to make his name at Crystal Palace, and it's blocked off by Thomas Partey. He took too long with the strike and just showed a little bit of lack of experience there. But it's Merlin now who has it back into Franca. Lovely little ball into Mateta. He's got an opportunity now to finally score, and that is exactly what he does. And at the 4th time of asking, the big man leading the line for me up front finally gets the goal that he so richly deserves. Look at the replay here. It's Merlin and Franca, the 2 substitutes combining, and Franca makes amends for his earlier miss, lays on a perfect assist for Mateta, and he's not gonna miss from there. Lovely finish, gave Ryan no chance, and he gives us a 1-0 lead here at Selhurst Park. Well, that is an absolutely huge goal in the context of things. We ran Arsenal ragged in the first 45, and we've struggled here in the second as they've looked to try and assert their dominance, but they haven't been able to, and defensively we've been resolute, and going forward it looks like now we've been even better. And Franca now, once again full of confidence, is going to float a ball over into the channel, looking for the overlap of Merlin, and he's found him. What options does Merlin have in the box? Looking for one here, doesn't manage to find Mateta. It's blocked off by Saliba. Arsenal will bring it clear now, out to Odegaard, into Gabby Jesus, twisting away from the challenge of Pacho. He does a really good job. Anderson comes across though, and the big man at the back has been an absolute unit for me in these opening 2 games. And as I go over to shake the hand of Mikel Arteta, and I salute the home fans, the Crystal Palace players celebrate as the referee has called time on what has been a historic day here at Selhurst Park. That man Mateta will take home the glory as his goal is enough to separate the 2 teams here at full time. As it finishes here, Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 0. While Mateta take a bow, he showed incredible heart and determination. Had 3 big chances in the first half, didn't take them, and a lesser man would have let his head drop, but not this young Frenchman. He stood up where it counted, and he got the goal that he so richly deserved. Meaning that after 2 games played, we've got 6 points on the board, and we sit top of the Premier League table. It's no goals conceded, and of course that is all down to the defensive solidity that Gay, Anderson and Pancho have brought to this club. But even more impressive was the performance of this man, Matheus Franca. Just like Mateta, he had an opportunity to put his name up in lights, didn't take it, but once again, didn't let his head drop, got the assist he deserved, and now the future is bright for the young Brazilian. But of course, the big question mark now is going to be who's going to fill this spot up front alongside Fabio Vieira. Was Raksaki's wonder goal in the opening Premier League game enough to show that he has what it takes to cement that spot? Is Matheus Franca's assist enough to show that he has what it takes to be the man? Or does the 21-year-old French Frenchman Hamada deserved to get a look in and deserved to get his opportunity to try and stake his claim? Or do I go one step further with this £86 million budget and look to blow the lot on a big name replacement? Let me know down below what you think. As for today though, that is going to be that for the end of the episode. Thank you everyone so much for your likes, your comments, your feedback. I really do appreciate it. Keep them coming and let me know who you want to see in a Crystal Palace shirt this season. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you again next time.